Today I'm going to talk about language and how you have to deal with it and answer the questions appropriately. Okay, so let's start with this model here. Language. Fill in the gaps with the appropriate phrasal verbs from the list. Here, so we have sentences missing some words, and we have to choose the correct one to put it in these gaps. So, as the school bus, the students had to walk 5 kilometers to school. As the school bus, and we have turned down, broke down, and found out. Of course, here we are dealing with phrasal verbs. So you may know the meaning of these phrasal verbs here. So turned down, broke down, and found out. So they are all in the simple past. So as the school bus, so when we talk about the bus vehicles, we talk about broke down. So broke down, stopped functioning. Okay. So as the school bus broke down. So broke down means stop functioning, like you are driving a car and abruptly you stop. So this is, or the vehicle stops. So it is broken down, or broke down in simple past. So we say broke down. Jamal jogging after having broken his leg. So Jamal broke his leg, and of course we have to choose the correct word here. So we can say looked up, made up, or give up. So gave up. So what is the correct form for you? So Jamal, of course, gave up, which means stops doing something. So we say give up, stop doing something. So he stops jogging after having broken his leg. So we say Jamal gave up. Fine, good. Let's move to B. Give the correct form of the words in brackets. We have humorous, and we have creativity. Let's read the sentences. Hassan Al-Fed is a famous comedian. He has a good sense of. So we need here a noun, and we are given an adjective. So we should change this adjective into a noun. So humorous, what is the noun of humorous? Of course, it is humor. Fine. Second, the aim of this competition is to encourage talented and students. So here we have talented, which is adjective, and of course we need to put it also into an adjective here. Creativity is a noun. So what is the adjective of creativity? You may be thinking of creative. Excellent. Fine. Let's move to exercise C. Fill in the gaps with the appropriate words from the list. Here we have where, which, when, whose, and who. And of course, these are what? Relative pronouns. So when we talk about where, we mean place. When we use which, we talk about things or objects. When we use when, we talk about dates. Good. Whose, possessive, and who for person or people. Fine. So here we have Julio is my Facebook friend from Spain. Julio. So what is the appropriate relative pronoun that we should use here? So Julio is a person. And you still remember what is the appropriate word? It is who, of course. So Julio, who is my Facebook friend from Spain, has just shared some beautiful pictures. Pictures. What are pictures? Are they persons? Of course, no. Place, no. Date, no. So it is what? Or they are objects or material, something which is not human, like tables, like pens, and so on. So we use with the objects, we use, of course, use which or that. So here we have which. We can also use that. So since we don't have that here, so we use which. Good. Let's move. Put the verbs in brackets in the correct form. We have Mr. Sadiqi. We have verb teach. English for 20 years before we have become our headmaster 6 years ago. So let's see how to deal with these sentences when we have a paragraph. Of course, a paragraph contains this is a paragraph, and the paragraph contains sentences. So we have to pay attention, we have to be careful while dealing with the paragraph. We have to just stop at a full stop here and to deal only as if it were one sentence. Okay, so Mr. Sadiqi, we have teach English for 20 years before he became verb to become our headmaster 6 years ago, full stop. So we should stop here and just think just about this sentence. What is before we answer or conjugate the verbs, we should decide in which tense they are talking about. It is present, past, or future. And to know this, we find some indications of time into the sentences. Okay, so let's find here first the indication of time. We have 6 years ago. 6 years ago. So when do we use ago? So when we are talking about, of course, the past. So let's omit the present and the future. So focus on just the past. In the past, we have two tenses. We have simple past and we have the past perfect. Of course, we have the continuous, but these are two important or main tenses. We have the simple past and past perfect. Good. When do we use past perfect? And this is the most important question. When do we use the past perfect? We use it when we have two actions in the past. We have two actions in the past, one after the other. Good. Here we have, of course, two verbs, teach and become. And we have the word before, which means one comes before the other, or one comes after the other. So here we have the conditions of past perfect. So we should use the past perfect since we are talking about the past, and we have two verbs, one after the other. Good. We should now decide which verb comes first. Become or teach? What is the old verb? Of course, it is teach, because we use this verb before he becomes a headmaster. So what can we say? So the old one, of course, is in the past perfect, and the second one in simple past. So we should conjugate teach in the past perfect and conjugate become in simple past. What can we say? So the form of past perfect, do you remember? We put had plus the past participle of teach. Good. But teach is irregular, so we cannot add ed. So what is the past participle of teach? We say teach, taught, taught. So we say had taught. Had taught. Fine. So Mr. Sadiqi had taught English for 20 years before he, so verb to become in simple, in the past simple. In the past simple we say became. Great. So the sentence is, Mr. Sadiqi had taught English for 20 years before he became our headmaster 6 years ago. Good. Here we start another sentence and another tense. Pay attention. By this time next year. Next year. So what does next year indicate? Of course, we are talking about the future. Nice. But, of course, we have two main tenses in the future as well. We have the simple future and we have the future perfect. Fine. Let's say another indication, which is by. And you know, when we use by in the beginning of the sentence, we are talking about the future perfect. Excellent. So we have just now to apply this on this verb. We have work, which is the regular verb. What is the form of future perfect? We say will have plus the past participle of the verb work, which is worked. Will have worked. So we add ed and we pronounce it t, worked, but we write ed. Will have worked in this school for 7 years. Excellent. So please remember this advice. If you are given a text, if you are given a paragraph, divide it into sentences. And each sentence, of course, has a special or specific tense. So pay attention to this point. Good. So let's move to exercise E. Correct the underlined mistakes. So here we have some mistakes and we are asked to correct them. Good. I will invite Kamal to the party if I had known he was in town. First, let's see the nature of this sentence. So we have here if, which means it's conditional. Now let's discover what exactly the type of conditional we are dealing with. So we have if plus had known. Had known. What is the form of? This is the form of past perfect. Had plus past participle. So since we have if plus past participle, past perfect, now we are talking about conditional type 3. And conditional type 3, if we continue the form, we find would have plus past participle. Would have plus past participle. So we should not write will invite, but we should write I would have. Invite in past participle. Invited. I would have invited. So we should change this will invite into would have invited. So the sentence is I would have invited Kamal to the party if I had known he was in town. He was in town. Right? So the mistake is will invite, and the correct one is would have invited. Nice. Let's move to the second one. A new president is electing every 5 years. A new president is electing every 5 years. Good. So the mistake is electing. What is the nature of this sentence in your opinion? When we start with an object. So people elected a new president. So a new president is what? Is an object. So when we start with an object, we are talking about passive voice. Good. So let's just change this according to passive voice. A new president is, so let's write it, a new okay, so an object plus the verb to be is. Now we have here a problem. Electing. So electing, we should use elect in the past participle of the verb because the rule is objects plus verb to be plus the past participle of the verb. So what is past participle of electing? It is elected. 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 Okay, so the correct answer is a new president is elected every 5 years, and you continue. My brother really enjoys to read sports magazines. So here we have a keyword here, enjoy. Enjoy. So after enjoys, what comes? Infinitive or gerund? When we say enjoy, love, hate, so these emotional verbs. So we use, after them we use gerund. So what is the gerund of verb to read? It is reading. It is reading. So we write, my brother really enjoys reading sports magazine. Good. So enjoy, after enjoy, we have, of course, we have gerund. So enjoy reading sports magazine. Now let's move to the last section in this language part. Match each expression to its appropriate function. So here we have the expressions, and in the other column we have their functions. Let's read the expressions first. Could you help me with my language, please? I am terribly sorry for the mess I have made in the kitchen. For me, hard work always pays off in the end. I definitely share your opinion on this problem. Okay, the other side we have expressing opinion, apologizing, making a request, complaining, and agreeing. So what do you think this express? Could you help me, please? So when you use could you, or would you, or can you, what do we mean? Of course, we are making what? Making a request. Fine. This is C. I'm terribly sorry for the mess I have made in the kitchen. I'm terribly sorry. I'm terribly sorry. So this expression is used to express, of course, apologizing. So the answer is B. And number 3, for me, when I say for me, or in my opinion, or as I see it, so I express my opinion. So of course, for me, hard work always pays off in the end. So it is expressing opinion. The last one, I definitely share your opinion. So share, to share with someone something, so to have the same thing. So like I share the opinion, which means I have the same opinion as yours. Okay? I definitely share your opinion, which means I agree with you. I agree with you. Of course, it is agreeing E. Okay? So now the last exercise. Here you are given some situations and you have to respond to these situations. So complete the following exchanges. Could you lend me some money, Jane? So imagine if someone told you, could you lend me some money, please? What is your answer? What should be your answer? So whether you accept or not. So whether you accept this request or not. Let's imagine that you accepted. So we say, could you lend me some money, please? You say, yes, of course. Yes, of course. This is if you accept. If you don't accept, if you don't have money, for example, what can you say? You just say, I'm afraid I don't have, for example, I don't have enough money. Fine. So what is important are these expressions. Yes, of course, and I'm afraid I don't, or I'm afraid I can't, and so on. So either you accept or not. So if you accept it, you say, yes, of course, yes, sure, no problem, with pleasure, and so on. If you don't accept, you just say, I'm afraid I don't have money, or I'm sorry I can't because I don't have, or something like this. Good. This is the answer. So I'm so sorry, sir. I'll get you another one. So here we have a waiter and a customer. So what would be the question in this situation? I'm sorry, sir. I'll get you another one. So I think that the food is not good and the customer is complaining. So when we complain about a situation, what do we say? We say, I'm sorry to have to say this, but the food is, for example, bitter. So bitter or something like salty, or it's not good tasting. Nice. So by answering this question, we come to the end. Thank you very much for being here, and I hope you have enjoyed the lesson and benefited from the answers. Thank you very much, and see you with another lesson.